and it showed how much he cared about other families not having to go through what he did. Later, reports said depression was a major underlying factor in Adam's death, and the family kept the details private, which is something many families choose when grief is still raw and public attention feels too loud. People sometimes look for simple answers when they hear news like that, but mental health struggles can be quiet, complicated, and easy to miss from the outside. If there is one thing this part of the story leaves behind, it is the reminder that someone can be working, smiling, and making plans while still fighting a hard battle in silence, and that is why checking in on people matters so much. While fans were processing that personal tragedy, the public controversy around Dr. Pohl's work never fully went away either. And over the years, it grew into a long argument about standards, reality TV, and what rural medicine looks like when money is tight. From early on, many veterinary professionals criticized what they saw, using harsh words and pointing to moments where sterile surgical methods did not look like modern clinic standards. Complaints reached the Michigan Board of Veterinary Medicine across the decade, and the pressure built enough that disciplinary action happened, including a $500 fine and a probation period tied to complaints that were connected to cases shown on the series. Some critics focused on specific incidents like surgeries where they said proper attire and monitoring were missing, and they argued that what was broadcast could mislead viewers about what good veterinary medicine should look like. At the same time, Dr. Pohl had his own defense, and it was rooted in the world he worked in. He kept saying that his goal was affordable care and common sense care, because many of his clients were farmers who simply could not pay for hospital-level setups and expensive monitoring. He pointed to the reality of rural life, where farms are spread out, time is short, and budgets are thin, and he argued that care that is possible today is better than care that is perfect but unreachable. Legal fights grew out of that clash, and in 2016, Michigan's Court of Appeals ruled 3-0 in his favor, in a key decision that overturned a probation, with arguments that the board had enforced standards that were not clearly written into law. So the debate became bigger than one man, because it exposed a gap between what schools teach, what professionals expect, what the law clearly demands, and what a rural community can actually afford. Then, after all those years of success and all those storms, the show still ended in a way that surprised a lot of people. On June 21, 2024, National Geographic announced the series would be canceled, and only about 2 weeks later, the final episode aired on July 6, 2024. Fans had seen the show run for 13 years, and many assumed it would keep going as long as Dr. Pohl was willing. The network explained it as a long-run meeting, changing viewer preferences, but viewers were not convinced, especially because a spin-off, The Incredible Pohl Farm, had just arrived around the same period, focusing on the family building up a large property into a working farm. To many fans, it felt like the story was still strong, the audience was still there, and the ending came too quickly. The finale itself was built like a goodbye letter. The Incredible Dr. Pohl. The grand finale aired on July 6, 2024 at 9:12 p.m. Eastern, running 44 minutes, and it looked back through the years with Dr. Pohl, Diane, and Charles, reflecting on the moments that shaped the journey. It was full of memories, life-saving calls, family milestones, and the kind of scenes that made people fall in love with the show in the first place. Later, the finale also became available on streaming platforms months after the broadcast, which made some fans wait longer than they expected, and that wait only added to the feeling that something important had ended. What made the cancellation feel even stranger is that the ratings did not look like a show that had collapsed. In early 2024, episodes were still pulling hundreds of thousands of viewers, often landing in the range of roughly 231,000 to more than 500,000, with examples like 467,000 on January 27, 2024, and 461,000 on February 24, 2024. Even in the same season, other episodes stayed strong too, like 440,000 on March 2, 2024, and numbers in the low 400,000s on multiple dates. Fans saw those figures and asked the same question in different ways. If people are still watching, why stop now? And yet, the ending of the show did not end Dr. Pohl's work. It just shifted the shape of it. Dr. John Pohl was born on September 4, 1942, and he turned 83 in September 2025. Even after the final TV episode in July 2024, he continued practicing in a reduced way, more like semi-retirement than full retirement, staying connected to the clinic and the community while stepping away from the grind of constant filming. Diane, who has always been a steady center in the family business, faced a major health scare too. On March 15, 2024, she went through significant back surgery involving spinal fusion and decompression, followed by about a week in the hospital, and then gradual improvement over the next month as mobility and pain began to change. That kind of moment forces a family to slow down, and it also explains why life after the show looks different. At the same time, the Paul story kept growing sideways into new places. The incredible Paul Farm launched in 2024 with a huge focus on turning 350 acres into a real working farm, and it widened the lens beyond vet cases into land, crops, livestock, and family teamwork across generations. It gave fans a new way to stay close to the world they had followed for years, even if the original show was gone. And through it all, the clinic itself stayed like the backbone of everything. Dr. Paul and Diane founded Paul Veterinary Services on August 21, 1981, in Wademan, Michigan, starting in a simple way that later grew into a large practice with multiple vets, staff, and a huge client base built over decades. The TV cameras came later, the controversies came later, the fame came later, and even the ending came later. But the work was always there underneath it all. That is why the story holds together so tightly, because no matter how big the headlines get, it always circles back to the same scene. A call comes in, an animal needs help, and someone has to show up.